Welcome back, Egyptology lovers. So we're doing plate 8 today as a continuation. This is a combination of 4 plates from 7 to 10, which is chapter 17 of the Book of the Dead. As the previous plate, the images above are described in the text below. So what we'll do first, as we always do, is describe the imagery, and then we'll read the text. So what do you have here? You have 2 deities right over here. They have androgynous bodies and drooping breasts, and basically they have no clothes save a cloth sash around their waist, from which a pendant hangs down to cover their genitals. You can see here. Now, who are these? Well, this one here is pretty iconic if a lot of people know about their Egyptology or hieroglyphics. This is the god 𝓿, which represents millions of years, which Faulkner described as the chaos god. And next to him, you have the 𝓿𝓤𝓇, right over here, the 𝓿𝓤𝓇. This is represented as the sea. So the 𝓿𝓤𝓇 was the sea, or the great sea. And he is standing here, and he is leaning over down here. And his name is right over here. It's represented 𝓿. So you see he's being represented over here. Now, the 𝓿𝓤𝓇 has 3 names, or 3 things here that is protecting with his hands. This 2 pools or 2 waters have 2 names that he protects, and another one which has 1 name and he protects over here. So let's go a little bit through the description of what we're seeing here. So the first one is we have the larger kneeling figure of 𝓿 is colored with blue, with ripples of lines to convey his watery aspect. He holds a notched rib of a plant right over here, and he has the same notched plant on his head. And this symbol is actually the symbol 𝓄𝓈�𝓇𝓌 sign, which means year. So we may read his image as meaning millions of years. So he is the million of years. So that's how you read his imagery. The other one is 𝓿𝓤𝓇, which is again the Great Sea. And the first inscription says over here is, right over there, you could see, it says the first name, the lake of natron, and here it says the sea, or the ocean, the sea is his name, and over here you have the 𝓿𝓤𝓇, his actual name, which means the Great Sea. And then over here, the lake of Ma'at, the lake of Ma'at, so the lake of truth. So that could be one of the many reasons as to signify different type of things. Water was considered very important, since the Nile was immensely important to the Egyptians and it personified many aspects. All right, so this is what we have here, and then over here you have an oval with the eye of Horus over here, down here, which is pretty much the vulture's eye, the falcon's eye around there. So we move over to the next one, which is a brightly colored shrine, and appearing next is labeled 𝓿𝓤𝓇 or Rusu, which is the generic name for necropolis. Now the center element of the shrine is a double-leafed door down here. Okay, since the first element 𝓿, which is up here, 𝓿, which is read from right to left, 𝓿, means gateway. The picture probably represents a gateway into the afterlife. This inscription seems to be supported by the text below, which speaks of knowing the road the road of just and various gates. This gateway is also represented in the throne of Osiris depicted in plate 4, so you can check out my plate 4 video and see it over there as well. So the next scene you have here is the wadjet eye, and on top of a small tomb or shrine, and corresponds with several citations of the eye in the associated text. So we have here the eye of Horus, if you know, was plucked out by Set when they fought against each other, and this is a very important protective symbol. So right over here we have something else. You have here the figure of a recumbent, mummiformed cow with a sun disk upon its head, between the horns, wearing the 𝓄𝓈𝓇 associated with Hathor, right over here, the 𝓄𝓈𝓇 necklace with Hathor. Like many deities associated with the preservation of the king in the afterlife, this figure has a royal flagellum right here, the flail. Usually the pharaoh holds the flail in crook, projecting from her back. Now the figure lies atop a shrine stand, which in turn is upon a reed mat. So the shrine is on top of a reed mat. The identifying inscription in front of the cow says, 𝓿𝓈�𝓇𝓐, right here. 𝓿𝓈�𝓇𝓐. The great floodwater. So the great floodwater. So great is also added here by the cow as well. So 𝓿𝓈�𝓇𝓐 was the great floodwater. And it says also the eye of Ra as well. Now, a deity is also known as Hesat, or the celestial cow. This goddess, who is mentioned in the text beneath the scene, which is below, is sometimes depicted resting on a pool of water rather than on a shrine. Cows are frequently part of the religious iconography of deities who play an important role of the mother goddess, as in the case with Hathor. Now, following over here, which is the last image that we have, is a scene showing the mummy form of 4 sons of Horus, deities personifying the canopic jars in which the organs of the deceased were placed in. The canopic jars, roughly in the same form usually made of alabaster, were placed inside a box similar to this one, or depicted in other plates, such as plate 5. The 4 sons are accompanied by the text immediately following the segment concerning 𝓿𝓈𝓇𝓐. Now, they have their names over here. So you have Hapi, which is a baboon, Imseti, which is a person figure, 𝓄𝓈�𝓇𝓐, which is a jackal, and then 𝓐𝓤𝓖𝓇𝓐, which is a falcon. And you have them as well inside here represented as well, assuming that they are basically representing the actual alabasters that were put in there, and inside them they also had the organs. And just above, you have a depiction on top of the head with 2 hands, each clasping an symbol, emerge from the center of the rounded top of the coffin. Now, this is a weird representation, but it may be intended to show that the object is actually a personification of such a chest, which reads up here, the mound of Abydos. So Abju, the mound of Abju, which could represent the actual mound from the primordial water which arose from the water of chaos, or the chaotic water in the beginning. So it's simply going to just be a representation of what they intend to do. Again, it may not be visible on any actual real canopic chest, but this is a good, interesting representation. So there you go. That's the description that we have here. And what we're going to do right after this is begin to read the text. So stay tuned for that. And as I'm reading the text, I'll describe to you the details above as well. Please note that we're doing, again, retrograde movement. So we're moving from left to right, but we're reading from right to left. So we're following the scene is what we were doing from plate 7. And it's going to go from top to bottom, top to bottom, top to bottom. But we're reading it from right to left. That's how the hieroglyphs are positioned. So stay tuned for that. All right, so we're reading the text here. This is from the previous plate 7. It says, where it says, and which is upon the brow of my father. And it continues here, Atum. So his father is Atum. So let's continue here for plate 8. Otherwise said, this his eyes, his plumes on his head. When he existed as the Osiris scribe, offering to all the gods, Ani, who is in vindication upon his earth. He has come in this his town, which is Rasachau, his town. What does it mean? It is this horizon of his father, Atum. I destroy what I have done. I dispel my evil. What does this mean? Which continues here. What does this mean? It means that this navel string, that this has been cut for the Osiris scribe Ani, vindicated before all, this is combined together, all the gods. All the evil or ill will, this has been removed. He who is excellent. What does it mean? Continues here. What does it mean? That this purification on the day of his birth, my purification in my two marshes, or my great two marshes, which are in 𝓄𝓈𝓇𝑖𝑍𝑒, which is known as Heracleopolis, Heracleopolis. On this day of these, in obligations of the common people, to this, the great God, who is in them. What does it mean? It means that He, or the chaos god, which is right over here, is the name of the One. And the great green sea, which you see is right over there, the great green sea, which is all combined, is the name of the other. So of this one and the other. All right, let's continue. This lake of natron, together with this lake of ma'at, which continues here, or truth. So you can see it right over here. And natron's describing this one and this one over here as well. So this describes him, and this describes this pool, and that describes this pool. So that's what this particular text just described. All right, continuing here. Otherwise said, He, or the chaos god, governs, which is the name of the One. And the great green sea is the name of the other. Otherwise said, He, the chaos god, is the seed of the name of the One, and the great green sea is the name of the other. As for, moreover, the great God who is in them, this Ra himself. I have gone upon the road which I know to be in front of the lake of truth, or ma'at. What does it mean? As for Rasajau, or Rasu, now we're talking about this over here. This Rasu, which is of the southern of this gate, or the southern gate combined, of Naref, and the northern gate of the mound, which is right over here, the mound. As for, moreover, the lake, which continues here, of truth, or ma'at, it is this, Abydos, or Abju. Otherwise said, this road I went on, to which his father 𝓄𝓈𝓇𝑖𝑍𝑒 then went he proceeded to the field of reeds. This rush or field of reeds produce provisions for the gods who are around or behind the shrines. As for, moreover, this sacred gate, this gate of the supporters of Shu, as for the northern gate of this duat, otherwise said, it is this or that, which is over here, that double door of my father Atum. So just Atum, who proceeded. Then, when he proceeded to the eastern horizon of the sky, O you who are in the presence, give me your hand, or hands, since it's plural. I am that God I manifested among you. What does it mean? It means that this blood, which came forth from the phallus of Re, when after he took to make cutting therein of himself. When you came into being or existed, the gods who are in the presence through Re, who are the authority together with the intelligence, while you be the following or the followers of Atum. Now, moreover, on the day of all days. This is EU, it's not pronounced. I am fulfilled, the Osiris scribe, Ani, vindicated. I have restored the uninjured eye after it had been injured on that day of the two rivals who spoke to fight. What does it mean? What does it mean? It means that the day of Horus, who fought there together with Set. So this describes the eye right over here. So Horus, Set removing the eye of Horus. So Set, when he afflicted injury on the face of Horus, and when Horus took away the testicles, which continues here, testicles of Set. So here you see how Horus injured his face, and Set injured Horus's face, and Horus took away the testicles of Set. So continuing here. As for, moreover, it was Thoth who made these with his fingers himself. I lifted up the hair from the eye at the time of wrath. What does it mean? What does it mean? It means that this right eye of Ra, when it raged against him, after it was sent out. Sent out is right here, sent out right here. By him. It was Thoth who lifted up the hair from it when he fetched it, so when he got it in life, stability, and health. This is a pretty standard formula. Without it having suffered any injury or harm. Otherwise said, it means that his eye was in sickness. So here you can see how a battle ensued between Horus and Set. This is describing the mythology of ancient Egypt, of how Horus fought Set for hurting his father Osiris, and how Thoth was mending Horus as well. And it continues over to plate 8, the description. So follow that as well in plate 8.